Oh, baby, it's time. Welcome back, everyone, to another Wednesday Night Live. And I'm telling you, going off air chats, this is going to be a beauty. Strap yourselves in because the boys are ready to rip and tear. And I tell you, I reckon this is the first week after old dentist gate last week with poor Isaac. He now fits in. He feels like he's one of us now, which he is. He's very comfortable and he is ready to just go off the back fence. He's got some juicy news for us to start the show. I'm so keen on this show. This is going to be an absolute ripper. Welcome, boys. But look, again, Isaac, before you kick off, just a huge thank you to Caxton Street Brewing Company, major sponsor of the show. A huge game coming up this weekend. Make sure if you're going to the game, you go and head there, have a drink, have a bite to eat, go and have a few more drinks as well. And we will have a very exciting announcement. I think the next game that we'll be attending at the venue is a week away, I think. So just a little, for everyone out there that's watching at the moment, there will be a special little post coming up in the next couple of days about that. But yeah, strap yourselves in. We'll be going and ripping down the Caxton Street Brewing Company shortly. Isaac, take it away, mate, I believe. Let's go first of all, before we fully go. Let's go to your first news. Josh Hannay, we have spoken about him once or twice already, but this time it feels like things are starting to get the wheels are starting to move and the concrete's starting to firm up with his appointment to a certain club.
Yep. So first off, before we get into it all, I want to just make sure if anyone hears a list, please just put your hand up. I don't want to see Joel smirking again. So just let me know if it sounds like I got a list, but I've got it under control. I'm going to the dentist.
Hey, Isaac, did you listen back to it? Did you listen?
I listened back to it. It was a hard listen. So I've made sure I'm in my usual setup. There shouldn't be any issues today. But just put your hand up if it sounds like I haven't gone to the dentist. So we have talked about Josh Hannay before, and it seems that things have steered in a little bit of a different direction. And so when I first kind of came on here and talking about Josh Hannay, I indicated that he was a front runner essentially for the Newcastle Knights job. Taking over Adam O'Brien. Now, there has been a ton of news around Adam O'Brien. I've been receiving a lot of mail about him, but let's focus first on Josh Hannay. So Josh Hannay, probably hottest in-demand coach at the moment in the NRL, and he has been linked to 3 clubs over the last few weeks. So one of them, obviously, Newcastle Knights, another Gold Coast Titans, and then the North Queensland Cowboys, which obviously spent a ton of time there in the past. Now it seems that he is the front runner to replace Todd Payten for the job in 2026. Now, I've got a few of my sources, including, NRL Nostradamus and a few others in and around the Cowboys camp have let me know that he has made his way over to Townsville. He's, met with guys over there to talk about him essentially taking the role on, and he has been spotted at Townsville airport as well I think it was yesterday or the day before. So things are moving really quickly at the moment. Now, it seems that his preference is to go to the North Queensland Cowboys. If you laid out all 3 jobs for him, the Titans, the Knights, and the Cowboys, he's going back to the Cowboys. And he essentially, if given the option, he would like to be the head coach from next year. Now, if he isn't to take the job, now the mail that I received a couple of days ago, is that he'd be willing to take on the Knights job or the Gold Coast Titans job. A quick one before I hopped on here, I actually received mail that the Gold Coast now are reluctant to let Des Hasler go and may allow him to come back through. So a quick kind of exclusive on here because I didn't have time to make up a post. So letting it out here first, I'm hearing that Gold Coast are now not are pretty reluctant to let Des Hasler go. We might see him stay on in 2026. But Adam O'Brien is essentially all but done in Newcastle. So Josh Hannay most likely to the Cowboys, if not, pencil him in for a Newcastle Knights job.
Funny, just on the Des Hasler part, I know that's not the topic point, but I did hear a huge reason about this turnaround is actually, which a point that we thought was going to just absolutely lose their season altogether, was that blow up in the sheds at Leichhardt after that game. So apparently that spray, while the bosses and that were in there, actually gave him a bit of hope to say, this bloke actually cares about what we're doing here, and maybe this is the actual coach we need moving forward. And to be fair, since that spray, they've been a much better football side over the last couple of weeks, the Titans. So they didn't get off to such a poor start and maybe had one or two more extra wins. Not saying they'd be in the fight for finals, but they'd be in a fight to look like a much better football team than I think a lot out there are giving them credit for at the moment. And just remember, they've got a few bits of talent out at the moment or who just haven't been themselves for a year, i.e. David Fafita. So it's an interesting backflip, but in a weird way, I can understand it. I actually kind of want to see it happen.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that Des Hasler and a lot of comments kind of coming through, the same sentiment. A lot of people were really worried after that spray. I thought it was awesome. I think that's what the Titans need. And that really excited me. The old Des Hasler's back now. As many would know, I'm obviously a big Bulldogs fan, and thinking back to Des Hasler back in the day, like he was just a iron fist, and it was nice to see that come back out again. So
I like it. The Des of old is the Des that we all love, and it's got him as far as it has in his career. So very keen to see that. And just on the Hene one quickly, I've said it for a while now. Is the choice that I think makes the most sense to him. Being a Cowboys great, knowing that back to front, knowing the culture that should be there to be a successful football club. I'm just shocked that Todd Payton has survived as long as he has this season, because their defensive record, we've continued to speak about it, is abysmal, and it has been abysmal for years now. Like, I know they've made finals and things like that, but to be a dead set in any of those years where they're dead set contender, maybe the year that in 2022 was probably the only year, but even that year their defense was still quite poor when you compare them to some of the other better clubs in that year. So yeah, they've never really, in my opinion, over the last few years been a genuine contender. And for that side, what they are on paper, there should be years where they have been a genuine contender. That's the big downfall there. And they've almost gone now. Like, luckily they got some good talent coming through, because Josh can pick that up and probably do something with it. But if they waited any more number of years, they'd start to get a lineup there that has already gone past their potential, in my opinion. So it's good to see a few of the boys are coming on. So good day to you all. Let's get into the hot topic. Isaac might not be able to stay around for the whole segment of this, because it does lead into our first segment, but let's just see. So he already has said he's a Bulldog supporter. He's also of Lebanese background, which he let us know about his first podcast with us. So I think he is the best to ask this question for, and to talk about what has happened, the fold out from it all. First of all, Isaac, I want to ask you, as a member of the Lebanese community, do you find let's see if I can get it, the hood offensive?
It was okay, he says.
It was okay. It was better than your first try off air, so that was much better. Look, this has been and as someone who's grown up, and we all kind of have said it to each other growing up, I never expected to see this gesture on my social media feed as much as I have over the last few days. It's almost like laughable how much I've seen it. Now I'm going to catch a lot of flack from this, especially from a lot of the people who follow me, a lot of Bulldogs fans and Tigers fans. I wasn't a big fan of it at all when I saw it happen. I don't find the gesture itself to be offensive, depending on the context that it's used. Now, you would have seen a lot of people online saying, "Oh no, it means this, it means that." But just like anything in life, any words you say, it's all about context. If you're using it in a derogatory manner, if you're using it in an aggressive manner, it obviously means a little bit more than if you're doing a light little gesture to your mates. Like we've all stuck the finger up at our mates, and it doesn't mean that we want to that we hate them or anything like that. But when you steer into the direction of, you're in a high, emotional, intense situation, and you're doing it in kind of the manner that they did, I didn't love it, only because I just think it's unprofessional. I think that we're a professional sport, and I don't think that there's room for just any, kind of behavior like that in the game. Again, if it was off the field, if it was to, another player, I don't think I'd really care. Again, I don't think it's that big a deal. But you do sign a contract to be, you're a professional sports person. You're on TV. You sign a contract, and you're getting paid the big bucks. You just probably got to reel it in a little bit in a situation like that, I'd say.
Thoughts on the Brent Naden one?
Yeah, the Brent Naden one. is probably a little bit worse now. So, and I'll kind of break it down for those who may have not come across the news today. So Brent Naden has actually been issued a breach notice by the NRL for his behavior, both on the field and following the game. So for those who didn't see, he went online and did the gesture again in a very derogatory manner, was swearing most likely towards Bulldog supporters, and probably pushed it a little bit too far. The rest of the guys, notably like Samuel Afenu and the like, just received fines. But Brent Naden has obviously taken it a step too far, going on social media and swearing and carrying on while doing it. So again, it's probably the punishment that I'm probably happy with in all parts. I think after today, I'm happy for it to kind of die down and move on. All parties have gotten the punishment I think is deserved. But Brent Naden probably took it a step too far.
Have the Tigers or Naden himself, have they just accepted these bans or punishments, or is it going to continue on?
Yeah, so Brent Naden's yet to respond to the breach notice yet, so he's got 5 days to do so. I don't think he's got, many legs to stand on in this situation. Again, if he had just done it on the field and left it at that, I don't think it would have been as big a deal. And for those of you who didn't see it, and you don't mind, he's gives some pretty choice words. Just head on TikTok or wherever you can kind of look it up. But again, it's more so the manner that he kind of carried on doing it. There's no room in a professional sport that's trying to grow internationally and is on the verge of signing a massive TV deal for players to kind of be putting their finger up at fans, no matter the cultural context behind it. It's just unprofessional. You wouldn't see it in a professional sport. And I think that he probably took it a little bit too far.
Look, I feel like we'll talk a bit more in detail about on the field and things like that. Just for the Naden one with his social media post, I think was really unprofessional and not the right way to go about it at all. I don't condone that whatsoever. So whatever punishment he got, and I think he'd be best to just accept it and not let it drag on, because solely his pride go, yeah, I stuffed up. I was going off emotion still. It was a very heightened game. It was the crowd, the players were into it. Everyone, the build up for a week. I feel like the build up's been a 2-month thing since the whole Galvin thing actually originally happened. They would have gone straight to their calendars, circled when they were going to bash Galvin basically, and it happened. So it's been a huge build-up. The Tigers, well done to them, first of all. They got it done, and they were the better team on the day. And you might say that the weather helped them, and the Dogs haven't got a great record in wet footy, but for mine, like, there was clearly a team there to play football the other day, and that was the West Tigers. So credit to them for there. We'll start unpacking a little bit more, and feel free, Isaac, to hop off whenever you do need to. But I'm obviously not of the background. I do have some mates who are Lebanese and in the community who I've spoken to over the last few days. I'm going to say about 80 to 85% of them have said it's a bit of a storm in a teacup. They don't really find it offensive in the manner of which they thought the Tigers were doing it. I've got one of those mates who is a Dogs fan. He's a pretty passionate Dogs fan as well. He mentioned, and there was something in the comments a little bit earlier about this, and I don't want to piss you off or anything like that, Isaac, because I think the Dogs are doing a great job. But he has said to me, and I've spoken to Trav a little bit on the phone about this the other day, but he told me, and this is coming from his mouth, he actually said, remember last time the Dogs got successful and the way the crowd started to act a lot was almost tarnishing their image in a way, and opposition crowds wouldn't go to games and things like that. There was some extreme carry on, and I love what the Bulldogs are doing this year. I love the interaction with the club and the fans, and how the fans are interacting and going about majority of what they're doing. But there has been some instances so far this season, like there's only a few, but it's a few more than most other clubs have had, where I feel like there's been a line that's been crossed. And it feels like now that I feel like the Dogs fans at the moment are more annoyed that they got embarrassed on the weekend on the scoreboard and by a club that they don't respect. And the fact that this has happened and given them an excuse to really vent their anger and vent their frustration has made this a lot bigger than it probably needed to be. I don't know if I'm fair on saying that, but you're obviously a Dogs fan and can talk about this from also from a dog supporter's point of view. But I'd be sort of right in saying that. Like, it seems like emotionally, that's the bigger thing is actually the loss.
Well, and it's actually really, and I'm going to start off by saying I agree with everything that you've just said. It's funny because obviously I posted this morning bright and early the Brent Naden news, and someone commented, they commented, it is offensive, but Bulldogs fans do this and blah blah blah, and I responded saying, unfortunately, Bulldogs fans have been known to carry on in a manner that has now granted them that stigma. Now, obviously, I'm a Dogs fan, whole family are Dogs fans, and I'm thankful to say we don't carry on. And a lot of friends of mine and family of mine are in the
Majority
same boat.
Majority
yeah,
don't.
but unfortunately, Bulldogs fans have carried on for years and years and years in a way that is absolutely embarrassing. And what makes it, it's kind of a double-edged sword. Majority of Bulldogs fans are of a Lebanese descent. And so when you pair the already kind of negative stigma around Bulldogs fans, already negative stigma around Lebanese people, and you put it together, you've got a fan base that no one likes. And Bulldogs fans can't be upset about that because they have created it. Now, the biggest issue I find with this topic is that fans are not paid the same amount players are. Fans are not on contracts that players are on. So while I don't mind, like I've got, on my comments and other pages and stuff, people are going at Bulldogs fans on fans, go for it, because the Bulldogs fans have earned this stigma. And I feel very strongly about this. But where the issue comes is when players, especially on field, when they're on camera or on social media, are then kind of hitting back to the fans. That's where it crosses the line, because we have to maintain a professional sport. And as someone, we're all involved in the sport in one way or another, on the media and the like. It's hard to sell the game if you're Peter V'landys and Andrew Abdo if you've got players who are essentially sticking the finger up at fans during the game and then going off the field and carrying on even further. So it's more a professional standpoint where I find the issue. But when you're looking at it from just the stands fan point and everyone's frustration, I'm with you 100%.
Travel's like he wants. I got one more thing to say about that, but Trav, you have something, or
yeah, I do.
I'll just say just one more thing on that. And I'm sorry that it is about the Bulldogs once again. I was trying to think of something else that's happened in the crowd this year. And the only instance I can think about is the Jai Arrow instance towards the start of the year, which we and Trav did touch on the Sunday show. It's just sort of like, I 100% agree with what you're saying, but I also wanted to say to the fans, don't take advantage of that. Yes, the players need to be professional, but yes, the players are also human. And if you're going to give out and give it to the players, that's all well and good to a certain extent. But when you're going, and by all reports, there was personal things said to Jai Arrow, that for mine's crossing the line. I don't think that should be allowed. And I think there should be a level of respect both ways, because I think I've spoken to a few of the modern day players. They want to have relationships with the fans, and most of them have YouTube channels now and social media pages that they want to give and provide insight into what they're doing. But I'll tell you now, if this sort of stuff, we've seen it in the past, it can just slowly grow and grow and grow into something that we don't want it to be. And if it goes to that level, I don't want to see where it can go, because we've got a real good chance at the moment to see like the American sports are doing, where we have such great insights, Netflix series, everything galore to all these players. I want to see that. Let's do a bit more of a mutual respect there. Like if a player drops a ball in that, go for gold, go criticize them, pay him out, do whatever. But I just think there's that little level of respect needs to go both ways. And I think the game could be much better for it.
I agree with you 100%. And I think that in touching on that point, and Trav, I know that you kind of wanted to jump in. I'll just quickly say, I do think that you find a lot of players who come to the Bulldogs, often they say, we've got the best fans in the world, the most passionate fans in the world. And, sometimes the loudest can seem like the most passionate. But again, I think sometimes you can cross the line. I don't know if it happened on Sunday, but I do know it happened in that Jai Arrow situation. And I think that there are times where the line is crossed. Now, I think that the NRL is better when the Bulldogs are doing well. Just ratings-wise, money-wise, one of the biggest clubs in the NRL, and there's few clubs who have fans that show up like the Bulldogs. But it is about knowing where that line is. Now, I don't know if the line was crossed on the weekend, but it has been crossed so many times in the past that now when things like this come up, it sparks a lot more emotion.
Actually, I agree. I said the same thing, Isaac, that I think there's actually two clubs that are in that boat, the Wars and the Bulldogs. Yeah. When those two are successful, the competition is incredibly much better. I said at the time, because I didn't understand, and I watched it live, and I went straight into our draft group, 60 odd people in there, and I was like, what the hell just happened? I don't even know what this means. And they're thinking, oh, is this like a snake bite? Is it like a, what the hell just happened? And I just thought it was pathetic. Like I literally just thought it was pathetic, but it was so scripted. You could tell it was like, they knew what they were doing. They were waiting for this moment, and they were ready to go. And the moment happened, and the group of them just went in and off they went. So this wasn't just an off the cuff thing that happened or whatever. This was a pure blown. I knew we were ready to go. We all had our action. We were waiting for our moment. And that was where I've got a problem with it, was because I don't think maybe the Bulldogs fans did do something, and I wouldn't surprise them because unfortunately they've got a history of doing it, as you're saying. So that's my issue. So I completely agree, and I just wanted to say that. I understand what the fans are saying, that they're pissed off because the Bulldogs as an organization have gone and sort of dobbed it in and said, we need to investigate this. This is not good enough. But what have they done to their own fans to rein them in? And I get what everyone is trying to say. Like, I fully understand why people are pissed off, because they're like, well, if it's okay for your fans to do it, how is it okay for you to go out and then why is it okay for you to go and dob everyone else in and say, no, I don't like that? Like, it's one of those moments of, you've got to be able to take what you can give, right? And we know full well from exactly what you're saying, you give it a lot. And there are examples. And that Jai Arrow one of having to go at a player wasn't the only one. Wasn't there another? There was another one of a player walking through. I think, was it a Roosters team or something? I can't remember. But there was something where they were walking through and they were getting stick at it. The issue I've got with this...
The Raiders. It might have been the Raiders.
The Raiders one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So... it's not off the cuff. Like, this is not an uncommon thing. This is common. My issue is that I get the players too. Like, I understand that the players are highly paid. I get that the players go through contracts. I get the players sign a contract to say they've got a higher standard. I understand that they are full-time athletes. They're full-time trainees. So they get all sorts of media people come through, and all sorts of doctors and counseling and all sorts of things that come through that help them to act like an adult, help them go correct and do all those. I get it. I understand it. But they are still freaking human. And when they are getting absolutely berated, and they get berated sometimes, I actually think the players should be able to turn around and say, up yours. Like, I don't think they should do it the way the Tigers just did it. That was wrong. But I think there has to be some give and take here, and some understanding that this happens. And until something like the NRL turns around and says, Bulldogs fans, got you organization, you got to pull your guys in. You got to pull these people in. We love their passion. We love it. And I've said to you before, I think the competition's better with them being successful and doing what they're doing. I think they should be. They have to be able to give it. They have to be able to take the shit too. And I just find that disgraceful.
Yeah, and it's something that you just touched on, which I think is really important to highlight. Now, it was preempted. Like, they planned that. They all did the exact same motion. You'll find that Jai Arrow situation, however many months ago it was, they spoke about it on Sunday, maybe Monday morning, and that was it. This situation it's Wednesday night. It's been 3 days and we're still talking about it. The reason we're still talking about it is the intent that was behind it. Now, a player erupting at the fans is nothing new. And in that situation, go for gold. Like, you're not allowed to do it. You get berated for it, blah, blah, blah. But go for gold, because at the end of the day, these guys are human. And I've talked to, so many players, and they're such good people. They're really good people. And sometimes the emotion gets the better of you. The issue I have is when you have a preemptive thing that it can be viewed as, racially motivated, can be viewed as discriminatory. You've all decided to do this motion that is targeted toward the cultural majority of the fan base that you're versing, and you've all decided to do this on TV in front of everyone. Children, women, parents, like you've done it in front of everyone. That's where I find it an issue, because you have decided in the build-up that you are going to do something unprofessional that makes the game look bad. Now, if you erupt at a player, at a fan on the side of the field, you haven't decided to do that. Emotions have gone to better review, and honestly, go for gold. I'm sure in that Jai Arrow situation, as someone who's been to 1 million Dogs games in my life, Dogs fans are annoying, and I would lose it too. And I get it, but if I went to the game with my children, and my children are now receiving essentially a middle finger by players, a group of players, I'm drawing the line there, because now my kids think that they can do it at their local footy game, and they're going to go, oh, did you see they did this at school? And they're going to talk about it at school, and they're all going to start doing it. That's where it's an issue, because you have collectively decided to do something that can harm the game. And that's where the professionalism is the only thing I have an issue with. So that's it.
And we're in a different world. We're in a different world now too, because I was watching it with my daughters, and even my 7-year-old asked what's going on there, and I had to try and explain in a respectful manner to a 7-year-old what this kind of meant. And I could, at the time, that's all I could say. It took me a little while, and I had to go back to her on Monday because she remembered and asked, "What does this mean?" And so I had to explain to her. But that for everyone else that's got the access to all types of technology, that video of that scene has been played 1,000 times. You can find it on anything. So at the moment now, everyone has got this view of it, and we can see it. So you're exactly right, dude. Like, it's not just the professionalism of I go to a game and I get the middle finger. Like, it's everywhere. And I'm having to try and explain it to my kids. And I can tell you now that in my classroom, because as I'm a teacher, I teach year 3s. I've had my boys who are watching it, who love rugby league, doing it at school. Now there's a problem.
Everyone's been talking about it all week. Everyone's been trying to say it, do it. If it is something that is very offensive, like if some people out there do find it very offensive, then they do. And that's something that's just been brought into the spotlight. Now, Isaac, we've got you way over time, so I respect that you do need to go and do something if you do. So we can continue on, but if you do need to go, please do it. Just get off whenever you're ready to. No pressure from us, but whenever you do go, just know that we appreciate everything you've brought on tonight once again. So just want to say, on the Tigers' point of view, as a club though, like, even though I'm not as harsh on this as some others have been, as a club, they need to put like a line in the sand and go, you know what? Let's just stop all this drama and shit that is around our club, and let's just win games. And like if they had not done this,
are a different situation.
Imagine if they hadn't done this, and we were just talking about the game itself and just saying and praising how bloody good they were, and going, you know what? All of a sudden, 3 weeks ago, their future looked very bleak, and all of a sudden now we're going, you know what? This side next year, if Luai can just pick up his form a little bit, they're probably playing finals football. Like, they've got a good side happening there. So there is so much, and we can just quickly, either just before you go, I've got one more question, because there's been 2 questions now on it. Bailey Simonson, there's obviously been some news in the last 24 hours, and we've got a lot of para fans on this page, has apparently asked the side for the Parramatta Eels for a release. I'm imagining this is for next year and beyond. That's pretty much all I know about it so far. I actually don't know any inside information on this one. A few people have asked me, and I'm not involved with the club anymore, guys. You all know that by now, or you should do. So I don't do anything there. So I don't know. I'm imagining it's probably to another NRL club, because I actually rate him as a footballer, and I think he's got a couple of really good years left in him. But do you have anything for us, Isaac, before you go?
Yeah. So on the Bailey Simonson thing, and look, you guys might know, the Parramatta Eels are probably one of the best clubs in the NRL at keeping things tight-lipped. Very, very rarely do they let things leak.
Depends on most of the time.
Look, compared to clubs like, for example, the Roosters, Manly, Bulldogs, a lot of things they leak things to player agents and journos and stuff. But the Parramatta Eels are relatively good at kind of keeping things close knit. So I had heard a couple, in the build up to them announcing it, I think it was yesterday or the day before, that he would requested a release, that he was probably on the outer anyways. I have heard talk about a potential Super League. But again, it's all whispers, it's all rumors. I wouldn't really, I wouldn't buy too much into that.
All our players go to Super League. We never release people to go to an NRL club.
Yeah, they all want to go to
Unless
Super
they're
League.
RCG.
Yeah, they go to France and they don't have to pay tax, and they love it in the Super League. But again, look, it's very close. I don't know why he's requested the release. If he's got a deal on the table at the moment, I don't know if the Parramatta Eels are willing to let him go. But it seems that he is, kind of unhappy with, the current circumstances, whether he feels that he's not going to get enough first grade time, or if there's issues behind the scenes, or if Jason Riles essentially tapped him on the shoulder. But I would expect probably news to come out within the next few days to maybe next week, because, again, a player doesn't usually request a release and it drags on for a very long time unless they're a star player, obviously. So
keep an eye on Isaac's page, guys, if you do want any more news around that Bailey Simonson news. If you can, mate, even if you can just maybe collab or something with our pages so our fans can see it as well. Just do that with any news. There's a few there. Guys, I've got to let him go. There is a few more questions coming in for him, but I've got to let him go. He's going to send me a bloody invoice soon, and we're going to all have to chip in for that one. So I've got to let him go. We'll discuss the potential second-row signing for the Eels. It's okay. We'll go into that. But thank you, Isaac. Go and get some sleep or whatever before you go in and save the world once again. You made up for Liftgate last week, and you made up for the week before doing a 5-minute shift. So you've done very well tonight.
I'm on 2 hours sleep right now. I worked overnight last night. I'm on 2 hours sleep, so I'm gonna get some rest. But thank you guys as always, and I'll be back next week. Thank you guys.
So thank you, mate. Thank you.
Come on, guys.
Ryan, just on the release, I don't think there's actually officially anything from the club released, like a media statement, but there's a lot of reports out there saying that it has happened. So. Pretty puzzling, to be honest. I'm a bit annoyed about it because I really rate Bailey Simonson. I'd have him in my my full strength backline, but we're not. Just go back one step. We didn't get Jake's thoughts, and there was a few in there asking about Jake's thoughts for Hoodgate. I'm guessing, if that's how to say it. Jake, just your thoughts on that one before we move on.
Yeah, I think I couldn't stop myself from disagreeing at any point with Isaac there. I think the main thing for me is the fact that it was pretty clearly premeditated. Like, the fact is that there wasn't a spur of the moment thing. That was the most important part of it, I think, is that they had it planned. And it's, I was thinking about it, and then I've kind of reevaluated as you guys have been talking. So, the first way I thought about it was it's just putting the middle finger up, which first of all is unprofessional in the first place. That immediately is its own sort of, it's unprofessional there. But even it's not, though, because it's actually a bit more culturally based or culturally charged, I feel like being targeted at the group that it was and the Bulldogs. I unfortunately have a lot of Bulldogs friends. I don't have any issue. These guys are awesome. But the media paints Bulldogs fans, and not only paints, there are a lot that are very full on and passionate, but being too passionate isn't always necessarily a good thing. But at the same time, I think players have to rise above that. That's my thing for that. So the Tigers have done something here where I just think that they should have risen above. And like you said, Joel, this could have been the perfect opportunity to go, hey, you know what? After all this crap that's been talked about us and all this, we just beat the team coming second. It doesn't matter about the rain, but anything. We just put a good score on the team coming second and played really well. And that's what this could have been about. But instead, we're all talking about this crap again, and they're embroiled in some more drama every single time. So I'd say that my thoughts are, first of all, they should have been way more professional than they were as an organization and as a team. I don't think it was good enough from them. Secondly, most Bulldogs fans are very annoying. I agree with that completely. And thirdly, I just think that they need to do better if they want to get a better public perception around the team, because at the moment, every single time, every week, there's just a new Tigers drama. Great for content, bad for them.
Yeah, keep going. Tigers don't change. I love it. So, and just on the middle finger, there's a few people in some comments over the last few days. I'd love to give my rude finger too, but here we are today. Just a quick one on Jace's little comment there. Just a rumor. This was also a rumor, could not be true at all. Since the signing of Selwyn Cobbo, there is no room for Jake Averillo. And he would like to go back to Sydney, and Eels are interested. I wonder if that's true. I've actually been a fan of Averillo for a number of years now, so I wouldn't mind having him at the club, but we'll keep an eye on that one. Moving on to another big one that has so many people talking. I'm sure in the comments this will be very big as well. Trainergate, Penrith Panthers, we're finally going to get our say about it because even on the Sunday review, we actually didn't really touch on it. We've spoken more about the Cleary moment and how good that was. But obviously this show is more for about discussing this side of the game, the news and the speculation and all that sort of thing. Trav, I'm going to ask you first. I'm going to just make a comment on this one in terms of I don't think this one's anywhere near as, and this is controversial, I don't think this is anywhere near as bad as it's being made out to be. But that's my opinion. I'm very interested and keen to see what you two think. Trav, what's your thoughts on this one and the punishment as well, the fallout, a 5-game suspension for this trainer and a $50,000 fine to the club, which is loose change, to be honest. So it's not much.
No, it's a
I
pretty
thought the fine was directly to him.
No,
The club
that's
pays
the
it.
club. The club
Oh,
pays
fair, I suppose.
The trainer's not paying $50,000. That's
imagine
half
that.
salary.
True.
All right. So, in context of let's just look at it in one game at that one moment. I don't think it's a big deal. I think Campbell probably got thrown off. It would have thrown him off, but he went back. He lined it up again. He took a few steps back. He got to reset himself, and off he goes. I understand that he doesn't want to do that twice, but that does happen. It's not like in terms of having to reset yourself, that does happen. Not when a trainer runs in front of you, but that sort of reset does happen. So I don't have in one context of that problem or that the trainer going past an issue. The problem I've got with this is that Penrith have a history. That's the issue to me. So in one context, whatever, yeah, we all know he did it on purpose. Oh, no, you didn't. Like he walks past and goes, oh, sorry, that bullshit. We know you did it on purpose. And the cameras went straight up to Ivan Cleary and he had a smile and we all know it was true. We all know that he did it on purpose. It is what it is. Don't lie to us and do all that. I'm okay with the punishment. I think the punishment is fine. 5-game suspension for him, $50,000, that's nothing. Like it is what it is. But unfortunately to me, and to a lot of people that are not Penrith supporters, that this is not a one-off context. This is not uncommon, and this is an issue. This has been an issue across the board. And even in that same game, that trainer hung around for too long on the last play, and he was there past the 4th tackle, and all sorts of things and coaching and doing that. And so that's an issue. Now, people are going to come back and go, oh, the like Alfie Langer does it for the Broncos and blah, 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 blah. Like, oh, we get it. So then we're going to go down that path, and then we need to make it much harsher, and we need the NRL to actually, well, hang on, let's hold the NRL accountable. That's going to go down well. The NRL accountable and say and hold these trainers out and say no, like that is the rule. I actually, to be fair, I don't think the trainer should be even on the ground. I don't think they should go on the ground unless there's a stoppage after a try. That's as simple as that. To me, that's when I think the NRL does not need to be coached with trainers on the ground because it's a smaller ground. It is like it's different to the AFL. The AFL is huge. It's a massive ground. So I get trainers and stuff going over to give messages. But in the NRL, I don't think there should be a trainer on that ground at all, ever, unless there's a try. And then we can have a huddle and you can talk then. So I think we actually just need to stop it altogether there. But yeah, to answer your question in a long-winded way, in context of just that one point, I don't think it's a big deal. But the history of Penrith having this has made it a big deal. And I think what should have happened at that time is the ball should have been picked up and put in front of the goals, and he should have had a kick from in front. That's what I think should happen.
I
Jake,
can't agree with you. I was going to say, I can't agree with you anymore. You pretty much hit every point I had ready in my brain. I'm like, yeah, I know exactly what we're going to talk about. Travis was going knock, 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 and just hit them all out of the park in a row.
Thank you, Jake.
Like, yeah, it's great. No, it's really good. I was that you right. I didn't think you were going to add it, but I think the other option, it might not have necessarily had to be right in front. Like if he kicked it, and missed, I think potentially he should have gotten a second attempt, but from the same spot. I wouldn't have necessarily. I mean, I get probably penalty, move it in the middle. I understand doing that as well, but I would have been okay with it just getting another attempt in general. My big thing, I suppose, with it is that, and like as you said, Trav, like yeah, he knew what he was doing. 100,000% he knew what he was doing. So there's no reason why he shouldn't have gotten that. Like that, Jaden Campbell shouldn't have gotten that second attempt. I'm a little bit stung because I still remember the 2021 final against the Panthers where they had a player out of play behind. We were attacking, they were behind our line, so it didn't matter. But the trainers come in and managed to stop the play and stuff. So like, there's that, and they, like you said, there was the other trainer who was on the field who was out there for the full set of 6, and like there was just so much. There was just so much that they do that it annoys me a lot, and I hate that. I guess that yeah, he gets suspended for 5 games, but that's like nothing else comes from it. Yeah, 100%. Like that's what I mean. Like nothing comes for it. I just can't. I don't know how they fix it, but it needs to be fixed because I just think that like that was a really good chance. Like the Titans were in that with a fighting chance to win that. They were, and like they're versing the Panthers, so it actually has big repercussions on the finals, like on the ladder and things like that, and where the Panthers finish up. It might not have affected where the Titans will end up. Or it might too. That might be them not getting the spoon. Like it actually matters a lot to both clubs, and I think that the effect was huge. Even if they kick that too, they might not go on to win the game. Sure, I don't care. It doesn't matter. They could have. It puts them in a better position.
I'm slightly different here, so this will make this a little bit interesting. I actually do believe that this guy has made a genuine mistake. And what I think he's become a victim of is the Panthers' past, and it's finally caught up to him. And he's been the victim of all this, and he's been made out to be the villain. When really, I think out of all of them, this one was probably the most genuine accident out of all the incidences the Penrith Panthers trainers have been involved with over the years. So I think that Ivan Cleary's smile might have been more so because he probably knew what the commentators in the commentary box were probably saying. And he's like, you know what, they're showing me. He's probably getting a booing live in the crowd. And he's like, oh, what else do? I just do a little smirk, things like that. So, look, it may have been planned. I'm not too sure. It may have been. But at the same time, I just think it was a genuine mistake. So
I just don't see how it can be a genuine mistake. Like he was in the huddle. He ran 30 meters. Like he had a whole 30 meters to decide whether he was going to keep running or not. And he just kept going. Like he could have gone and ran 5 meters or even 10 meters and gone, oh shit, I'm in the wrong spot here. I might just stop. I'll turn around. I'll go back and then run around again. Like, nah, come on now, man. There's too much history around that. And he knows that the dude's kicking. Like he's in the huddle because there's a guy about to kick it. He knows that there's a guy going to kick it. He knew exactly what was going on.
Yellow shirts and the trainers in like local like bush club footy, they all know not to run in front of the kicker. Like I don't know, it's pretty freaking obvious. I don't know how people can like do that not on purpose.
Yeah. But either way, like, yeah, it is what it is. That you're right. Yeah. I think he's affected by the fact that there's a history in it. That's the problem. I think really what they need to do is, if it happens again, the simple punishment is move the ball straight to in front. And you get a 10-meter kick from directly in front. I bet you that won't happen again. Like, just make it a really simple rule. It
100%.
Let it be.
And just out there, I don't know if anyone out there does follow him or not. A few of you probably would. The SE Experience, shout out to Savs, who actually got a message from Jaden Campbell today, who did say that, look, he doesn't blame the trainer. He should have composed himself a bit better, things like that. So he threw the tea out of frustration, apologized for that as well, said he shouldn't have done that. But, he wants to move on and doesn't know why it's been blown up the way it has. So shout out to Jaden Campbell. Moving on. So we've got the hot topics out of the way, but we've got a few more to come at you guys. So Who makes the top 8 between the Dolphins, Roosters, Manly? I'm going to ask that question right now. Jake, I'm going to throw to you first. I reckon this top 8 is set with 7 teams. I think the 8th team is between these 3. Who makes it?
For mine, it's Roosters. I think that with Herbie out, the Dolphins lose just a lot of strike power there. That's a huge out for me, because when they were struggling and when they were in games where they didn't really know how to attack, I think Herbie was so huge for them. And then Manly, I just don't see it. I don't know. They don't have it right now. I don't know what it is. They just don't seem to have it. Whereas Roosters can at the moment, they seem like they can just kind of beat whoever they need to. For mine, I'm picking Roosters. That's my shout out of them. Yeah, like I said, the other two, I think if Herbie was still in, I'd probably have changed my answer, to be honest with you, to Dolphins. I think he's that big of an out for them.
So just to quickly go through the 3. So the Dolphins are currently in 8th position, 26 points plus 171. That's insane. Their run home is Roosters this weekend at home, Broncos effectively at home, Manly, Titans, Raiders. 9th is the Roosters on 24 points, so 2 points below, plus 20. So it's a significant for and against they've got to make up to bridge that gap. They just can't finish on the same points as the Dolphins. They need to go a win ahead of the Dolphins. They've got the Dolphins this week, Dogs, Eels, Storm, South Sydney. So toughish draw, but we know the talent the Roosters have. The Manly are 10th, 24 points, plus 6. So they've got a long way to. They won't make up any near the ground that they need to make. But they've got the Raiders, Tigers, Dolphins, Dragons, and the Warriors. Trav, who you got? Who's finishing 8th?
I wish you asked this question next week, because I think the game between the Dolphins Roosters this week is the deciding factor. The winner of that game makes it to the 8th spot. If the Roosters win that means they've tied the game. That they'll be tied with wins 10 each. And I think the Roosters win at least against Para and at least against the Rabbitohs. So they get those extra 2 wins, I think. And then I can see them winning one of the Bulldogs and Storm game too. I just can see form they can go through. So I think this week is a really big game that's going to decide this answer. At the moment, I'm going to say the Dolphins because of exactly, and I've written in my notes, so you've stolen them. But the Dolphins currently sitting in 8th with 1 game ahead, but it's that point differential that's enormous. So both Manly and both Roosters actually have to win 2 more games or an extra game more with 5 games to go. So whilst the Dolphins play the Roosters, they've got the Broncos at home next week, which we're going to. Joel cannot bloody wait. Then they've got Manly away, Titans and the Raiders. So the Dolphins have got a couple of tough games, but they have the advantage of having that 1 extra. I think Manly can have a strike straight through them. I think they lose this week to the Raiders. I actually think then they go to the Tigers and lose. Then they've got to go up. Then they've got the Dolphins at home, which they should win. And I actually think then they've got the Wars, and I think that's a big deal in the last game. And I think that's going to be – so I think the strike through the Manly this week's a really deciding factor. But right now I'm going to say the Dolphins.
I would love to see the Dolphins. I hope it's the Dolphins because I do really want to say that. And yeah, just some sort of breaking news in a way, Jesse. Josh Kerr to the Dragons is official now. I think he's back for 2 years. I like the signing. I've actually liked what Josh Kerr's done for the Dolphins this year.
Yeah,
so I do like it. They need some grunt in the middle, and I think that'll help them a lot next year.
Agreed.
My Maverick guy as well just confirmed 1 minute ago to the West Tigers on a 1-year deal. So Maverick guy signing with the
Ethan
West
Roberts
Tigers
as well.
It's 9 o'clock at night. It's what?
Ethan
James Roberts
No, Ethan Roberts from the Roosters. He's going there as well.
to the Tigers.
Yeah.
Tigers, well, they got a sombrero all of a sudden. Look out.
Yeah, making moves.
Next up, so I want to know who makes the top 4. I reckon there's 1 spot available there. That is the Wars, Panthers, Broncos, and the Sharks are only 1 win behind the Warriors as well. So, Trav, I'll go to you for this one to kick us off. Who do you have making the top 4?
I got the Panthers. Yeah, I've got the Panthers. I think the Panthers win this week. I think the Wars lose this week. I think, unfortunately, they lose a third game in a row for the Wars. I then against the Bulldogs. I then actually think that they also lose one of the remaining matches, most likely the game at the end of the year against Manly, and that for me does them out of the top 4.
Question for you, Trav. Sorry, do you think I'm just asking you genuinely because Panthers have the Storm next week, and then they actually verse the Raiders the week after that, and then the Bulldogs the week after that.
Yep.
Do you think they win all 3? Or any how many of those do you think?
I don't think they win all 3. I obviously I think they beat the Knights this week. I think actually I'm going to tip the Panthers against the Storm the week after that. At this point in time, I think they also beat the Raiders at home, and then I think they lose to the Bulldogs.
That's interesting. Okay, fair enough. Just curious.
That's kind of where that's how I've written and how I've laid out my draw. So I think the Wars have got I think the Wars don't make it. Unfortunately, I don't think the Sharks either. Chris Kingman, I don't think the Sharks will get there. They've got 12 wins. Yes, they've got the bye to come. They're currently sitting 7th. They've got the Dragons away, the Titans at home. They've got the bye, then the Knights, and then I think that Bulldogs. So I actually think that the Sharks could win those 3 games, Dragons, Titans, Knights. But I think they lose to the Bulldogs, and I reckon that kind of locks them out just with the way that the rest of the teams, I think, with the matchups are going. So at the moment, I've got Penrith.
Yeah, I'm on Penrith as well. I feel like they'll be doing just enough to get it done. I think they'll win 2 out of those 3 big games coming up for them. But for me, I've got them losing to the Storm, but I've got them beating the Bulldogs. So I think they've shown last time they versed the Bulldogs. I think the Bulldogs are just out of form at the moment, and we're a better side when they versed them the first time. So I don't think they'll be able to match what Penrith have currently got at the moment. So I reckon they'll beat both the Raiders and the Penrith Panthers. So yeah, Penrith for me. Unfortunately, I can see the Wars slipping not just to 5th. I can see them probably slipping to 6th or 7th at the moment, unfortunately, which has been a horrible way for them to end an awesome year. And I think that also means they'll probably be bundled out first week, and we won't get to see that home final in New Zealand, which will be such a shame because that would have been awesome to see a blackout there for week 1 of the finals. Jake, who you got?
Yeah, I was going to go Penrith as well, but to be honest with you, I don't think that they win. I reckon they win one of those 3 games. So I reckon they beat the Knights this week. I reckon they lose to the Storm and lose to Raiders, but beat the Bulldogs. I've actually gone the opposite to Trav. And then I reckon they win the round 27 match against the Dragons. That's only 3 wins from 5, whereas I actually look at the Wars, and I'm a little bit more on them than I think you boys are because I don't think that they don't actually have the toughest draw. So this week, yes, they verse the Bulldogs, and I think they lose. But I think that they beat the Dragons the week after. I think that they beat the Titans the week after that. Against the Eels, it depends on how we're going by then. The way we've been playing recently, though, I think we might get them, but it could go either way. And then they versed Manly. And they're already on the high, they're already the highest point on the ladder out of everyone, out of those people we've talked about. So I'm actually going to say the Wars hold their line and make 4th.
If it was at CommBank, I could see the Eels challenging, but the fact that it's in New Zealand, I can't see it.
I'm just going to say, I reckon. Well, then if that's the case, especially then, if they beat us, I actually reckon that they stay in 4th, just based on the draw. I just think that the Penrith have a very, very difficult few run of games coming up. If they come through and win those 3 games, Penrith, I'm putting my house on them winning the comp.
Interesting. We'll see. We will see what happens. Lastly, and before we get into the tips, and I don't want your tips for this week, but I might somehow give it away. I want to know who gets the spoon. Is it going to be the Titans, South Sydney, or someone else? We've got 5 weeks to go. Spoon Bowl might be what a lot of people out there are calling this game on the weekend, but who is your wooden spoon team? I guess it's to me to start with. I just can't go past South Sydney at the moment, just how depleted they are. I know There's rumors that they're getting one or two of these stars back towards the end, but I just can't really see it. So for me, South, Jake.
Latrell was named on the extended bench this week. I don't know if he's going to end up playing or not, but he was named on the extended bench.
That doesn't change anything.
Yeah, fair enough. No, I don't know. I'm just telling you. I actually fully agree with you. I think that the Titans are coming into a weird little patch of form randomly, and as we just talked about with Hasler, and I just think that the Rabbitohs just have too many out. Like, they almost couldn't name the team on the week. Like, couldn't name a team on the weekend. Like, that's just, how can you even? It's just unfathomable. I just don't think that they have the numbers, and it's unfortunate. I don't think they deserve it at all. I just think that there's not much they can do.
Trav, who you got? You got someone else?
Nah, I'm going to lock in the Rabbitohs. It's even just with the draw. I think don't think the Rabbitohs were going to win another game this year. To be fair, they'll get a couple of points from their bye, and that's it. Unfortunately, it is what it is. The way that they've gone. So I think they lose this week to the Titans. They'll definitely lose the week after to the Eels with the form that they're in. I think the Dragons, if they can continue to hold the form, they'll lose to that. They've got the bye, and then they definitely lose against the Rabbitohs, against the Roosters in the last game. I'm not going to sleep on the Knights though, because they've got Penrith this week. They've got the Cowboys up there. Then they're going to play the Broncos, and they're going to play the Sharks in the last game against the Eels. And I don't think the Knights win another game either. So I'm not sleeping on the Knights myself for that spot. They're both on the same amount of wins. So there's a sneaky little bet on the Knights also finishing bottom.
I hope you're right. Get the preseason prediction right. That'd be nice to have a big green tick there at our wooden spoon predictions. Rob, we did have Isaac on at the start of the show. We spoke to him about Bailey around the half an hour mark or something it was before he had to leave us. But it's more so, I think there's a little bit of unhappiness there from what I'm hearing about him not getting a start there, and it seems to be Russell is now ahead of him and Semrani. So I'm a bit shocked by that, to be honest. Apparently he killed it last weekend for New South Wales Cup as well, Bailey Simonson. So I'm a bit shocked at how far he's quickly slipped down the order. I would have him right now starting in first grade. I'd have him before even Russell if he was fit. That's my personal opinion. So I said it before when we spoke about it, and I'll say it again. I'm not entirely happy about this move. I think this is one that Riles will get wrong if this does happen. But who knows? There could be some stuff behind the scenes we don't know about. There could be training. We don't know. Like, so far, what I will say about Riles is he's made majority of the right decisions. He clearly knows what he's doing and what plan he has in place. So I can't question it too much because I don't know what's happening behind closed doors there and what has potentially happened there between him and Bailey or the club and Bailey. So see what happens, but it does open the door for me to look at maybe 2 or 3 really cool signings. So there's obviously the second row signing that's been rumored out there. There could be a centre now, in my opinion, that we could go after, and we still have some really good kids coming through in all those sort of positions. So pretty exciting time for the club. Let's get into tips, shall we? So some cracking games this weekend. I'm really looking forward to a lot of these games this weekend after a very dour affair on the weekend, thanks to the weather for most of it. But first up, the Storm against the Broncos. We all know the horrendous run that the Broncos are on with the Storm at the moment. Jake, who you got in this one?
Yeah, I got Storm.
Trav?
I've got the Storm. Think that this is going to be the game of the round.
I've got the Storm doing this comfortably. I think they're about to put the burners on the Broncos. Well. And I think after the Broncos sort of tried to show off in front of a reserve grade South team on the weekend, I think they're going to get their pants pulled down and they're going to get the spanking of a lifetime. So Storm 13 plus, put your mortgage on.
Put your mortgage on it. Damn. So I love your confidence as a Storm fan. I just don't have that. Like we haven't played to that form really all year, other than that game against the Tigers when we won 68-0. Like
I think a big factor.
So just to put your mortgage on to win by 13 plus is a really interesting call, especially when the Broncos are back to full strength.
They are, but I think a massive factor is the fact that Craig Bellamy was not happy last week with the way he played against us. He's been happy
for weeks.
I know, but I mean, he was like probably one of the most Bellamy storm out performances I've sort of seen for a little bit. And he was he was pissed at the end of that last game. I think that he would have put you guys through the ringer. The little bits of Craig Bellamy spit going on the faces as he's yelling at all the players, and I think they're going to be revved up.
Do you actually think do you not think he hasn't done that for the last 4 or 5 weeks? Like, I reckon he has been. The way that we've been playing, like that against the Roosters, and yes, we won, and we've been escaping wins. But I actually think
where are the Eels sitting on the ladder?
But it does.
I think that matters.
Come off a win against the Broncos,
it doesn't matter. I don't think that affects him at all.
He's reacted this week because he hasn't named Nelson and Solomona when he's back ready to play. So I think that's the sign of a reaction, and he's gone. I reckon this is the moment in the Storm season where they're like, enough is enough. Let's switch it on now.
I bloody hope so. But yeah,
actually, they don't have Hughes. That's actually
I've
huge.
tipped them to win. I just don't know if I'd be putting my house. I can tell you now, I wouldn't be putting my mortgage on it.
True.
Gamble responsibly, please, guys.
No, Hughes actually just scares me. I forgot about that.
Unless you have multiple villas out there, or you own a small island, maybe don't put your mortgage on it. Knights versus the Penrith Panthers. McDonald Jones Stadium. Hopefully it's recovered by this game because it was absolute swamp stuff on the weekend. And how it held together, I was actually quite surprised about. There was a few overcritical about this on the weekend, but how they got through, 6 games in the end, I think, back to back. That was huge in those conditions. Jake, who you got in this one?
Okay, this one I've got Penrith 13+. I think that because they're not happy that Newcastle did what they did to them the last time they played, despite who they had out and all that. I think Penrith are going to come here with a point to prove, and I think they're going to come in and they're going to dominate.
Trav?
I don't think we need to do much of an explanation here. I think Penrith are just going to – I think they're going to come back off what happened last week and be really disappointed about and the way they played in the second half. Full credit to the Titans. But, I think they dominate the Knights this week.
Dominate. 13. Would you go as far as going 19+ if I gave you the option?
15+. Give me 15+.
Knights versus Manly, Jake.
No.
Nope.
Raiders, Manly.
Oh, sorry. Raiders versus Manly.
I've got Raiders comfortably. I don't think that needs much explanation.
Yeah, Raiders comfortably for me too.
I got the Raiders bouncing back for sure in this one. I'm so disappointed in Manly. I think that was disgraceful on the weekend, the performance that they put in. And if they get their pants pulled down in this one, which I reckon is a high chance of happening, Seibold should be under extreme pressure to save his job going into next year. I just think it's very clear that he's not the right man for that club. And we've said it before about a number of coaches at the moment. I don't know why you'd continue and push on into next season, knowing that Seibold can't do what that sort of team and lineup should be doing. Dragons against the Sharkies, big local derby. This one, Jubilee Stadium. Jake?
I've got the Sharks, but I am not going to be surprised if the Dragons cause an upset here. I could go either way on this, to be honest.
Trav?
Love the way the Dragons played last week. I think they take that back in. I think they take that into this game and make it really competitive. They'll have their chances. I just don't think they've got enough to win it, and the Sharks get it.
Yeah, I was really disappointed by that second half by the Sharkies on the weekend. That's sort of, and the way the Dragons did play, they finally put it together. And I heard, obviously, Gus and a few of the other players say they've been building to that for a few weeks now. Finally, it happened. They could be right up for this one, but I think the Sharkies should get this done if they've been fair income about playing finals football and pushing for that top 4 position, even though I think it's pretty unlikely. The Sharkies should get this one, but would not shock me if we're talking Sunday night about an upset in that game. Dolphins against the Roosters. This is going to be a cracker 5:30 Saturday night. Again, if you go on there, please, guys, beforehand, after it, go to Caxton Street Brewing Company. Check out the local brewed beers. They are absolutely insane drops. So they will knock your taste buds off. They're that good. So your taste buds will fall in love with you over and over again, saying, give me more. That's how good that stuff is. Jake, talk to us.
I've actually I've gone the Roosters here because I just think that without Herbie, I think they have too many out.
Trav, talk to us.
Talk to me, baby. The Dolphins. I've got the Dolphins in this one. I like the ins. I think there'll be a few changes. Fuller and the extended. I think there'll be. I think he gets named at the fullback. I think Hammer moves up. I think Kafusi's back, isn't he? Did I
No,
say
he's
Kafusi?
suspended
last
now.
week.
No, he's still
Yeah,
suspended.
he's
Sorry.
suspended.
No, Finafuiaki's back. Sorry, my bad. I just got the names wrong there. I think the Dolphins get this one. I think it's going to be a great game. I'm really keen to see. There's some changes, but the Dolphins get up. I think they stand up again for
Very
Herbie.
important game.
This is a massive game for the Dolphins. If they win this, they'll be in the 8. That's how big this game is.
Yeah.
So
Agreed.
they can go a big, big way of securing this maiden finals spot for them. There's a part of me that really wants to tip them, but I just can't get my head past the no Farnworth factor for the Dolphins. So I'll be tipping the Roosters in a very tight one. Wouldn't be surprised me if a field goal separates this result. Doggies against the Warriors, 7:30 at a course stadium. Behave yourself, please, out there. This could be a great atmosphere to start with. Jake?
I've gone the Doggies here. Heavily dependent on if Lachlan Galvin plays. Because apparently he won't be.
I'm hearing he's not.
Yeah.
So if Galvin doesn't play, you change your tip. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Yep. I think so.
Where'd you go? You just go out of space and back.
Yeah,
No, I was just thinking. What?
Deep thought.
What?
very deep thought. I think they're better. I think the actual Bulldogs would be better with Sexton in. So I think they're replacing.
Well, apparently, there's a chance they're going to play Woods.
And if they do that, then they do that too. Either way, I think the Bulldogs win this game.
Fair enough. I get it.
Yeah, if the Doggies don't win this, they won't win another game for the rest of the year. They are dead set done. They've shot themselves in the foot. Sunday games, tight. Here we go. Spoon Bowl perhaps has come 5 weeks early, but everyone's already calling it Spoon Bowl. Titans against the Rabbitohs at Cbus Stadium. Jake?
I have the Titans only. Again, the Rabbitohs, I just think it's just time. They're depleted. They're done. They're looking tired.
Trav?
Yeah, I got the Titans.
Yeah, I'll go the Titans, but this is such a difficult Titans game. They come out and lose it. After putting on a good show last week, everyone's going back on the Titans bandwagon slightly. They could all of a sudden just go, let's shit the bed, and Des Hassel's all of a sudden sacked again. So last game of the round, the Tigers do have the bye, so they need that to recover from the weekend's antics. But the Eels against the Cowboys, 4:00 Sunday. Jake?
I've gone Para.
You fanboy, Trav?
Yeah, I'm tipping Para too, actually.
I'm Cowboys. Cowboys will win this one. No, I'll go the Eels.
Yeah, you know what? You've said it. You've said it live now. Stick by it. Go on. Stick by it.
Moses will put on a show for this game. So
nice.
The Eels. That is it for us, guys. It's a big show. I told you it was going to be a big one. Very fiery, heated early on, and then we got to some of the big predictions and things like that. Thank you very much for watching. Again, we'll be back Sunday night to do our review of the weekend. Check out the Legends Group for all your exclusive content throughout the weekend. Supercoach tips, betting, things like that. $2.99 per month. There's some awesome tips in there. But good night. Thank you for watching. Shout out to the League of Inches hoodies as well that is now available. You've seen the postings that I'll put it back up again. If you do want to order one, please message the page and you will secure yours and be one of the first to get your hands on them. Good night, guys. And ciao.